Hello, I'm Caleb. I'm currently at work. These are my work clothes. I work at a factory, and I'm going to be giving the speech to my coworkers. These are my three note cards that I have, and this is my ID, my old high school ID. That's all I have on me. I don't look very similar anymore. And the PowerPoint that I am using is right behind me. Okay, this is my intro. Alright, so my speech is about poverty and its negative effects on students in secondary education. My chosen degree is in secondary education, and I wish to pursue a career in our American education system as a history teacher. And this specific topic is very close to me because in my class, I'll be forced to deal with the realities of poverty affecting my students every single day. And I'll have to modify my curriculum and change those things for my students who may suffer for some certain things at home, like unstable living conditions or lack of resources thereof. And maybe I'll have to give a student a granola bar or allow them to sleep in class where they wouldn't have anywhere else to sleep otherwise because of their at-home environment. And because of this inadequate access to basic education, it really systemically affects our society. And before we continue, I want to kind of define what poverty is for the sake of this speech. And what I would define it as is the lack of basic necessary materials and resources that someone, a youth or an adult, would need to live a successful and prosperous life, not just exist or even live a life, but to live a good, a decent one. And to really analyze what this does for our society, poverty presents a lot of issues every day for everyone around the world. But specifically within education, it restricts our social roles. It's no secret that poverty places us in our society, depending on where we were born, as much as we wouldn't like to admit it. And within our education system, this is ever apparent. Our education system in of itself sorts us into our own roles and places within society, and it inhibits social mobility, as stated by Lamb 2014. These negative effects that poverty presents on us, this mental health that it may affect the student with, it really damages this social mobility for a student. They may not feel encouraged to come in every day or really try. And certain events can amplify these feelings of poverty, like our pandemic, for example, COVID-19. All of these problems that it caused on a normal student who had to go home to a two-story house with two parents, they could easily adapt to it, But students who lacked that sort of encouragement from their parents or other figures, or maybe they had to take care of their siblings or work a job, they didn't, they suffered more from these negative consequences of our pandemic and what came with it. So, it's really important to realize what this means for our society. In applications, what does it mean for our society? How does this apply to the real world? And from a functionalist perspective on sociology, education systems itself, their function is to sort us into roles, to decide what we're going to do in life, and really what our interests are. And it's a huge opportunity for us to move up. If you were born in one of those aforementioned lower social structures, you can move up. You can become somebody new based off what you learn or the lucrative career path that you get. But poverty, it puts these roadblocks in the way, these systemic blockages for these students that otherwise don't exist for other people. And as Connerly states, this is the easiest way for students to really change how they view themselves and how society as a whole can view themselves. And culture, students' culture, language, ethnicity, religion play a huge impact into education already, and poverty even more so, because unfortunately impoverished individuals are exponentially not the majority group. They may be of a different ethnicity or a different religion, or may not even speak English or the predominant language at hand as their first language. And these barriers are amplified by poverty, if not caused by poverty. And this all presents exponential challenges to these students that I'll have to deal with in my everyday life as a teacher. And how do we really solve this issue? We can get up here and talk about how this is a real big problem in our world. And I think, as stereotypical as it sounds, bullying is a big part of this, and it's one of the biggest results of poverty in education. You get made fun of for having those lack of resources, for having to go home to no parents, or maybe coming to school in bad clothes. And just rooting this out as a teacher and fostering a nice, safe environment for your students to be in where they can feel safe is the number one goal for any teacher to fix this problem at a micro level. And it's important that teachers aren't biased. They can't lose their bias. Certain teachers, as proved by Kanobo, they have a bias against students in systemic poverty. They may see them differently. Maybe they have lower expectations for them. They don't expect them to achieve the same in class just because they know these facts about these students. But it's important that teachers stay non-biased and objective to their career path and their job, and foster this good environment. It really affects their mood overall, and teachers need to play their important role as mentors and really support students through this impoverished lifestyle and what they can better do to really pertain to their needs. And I think as a whole, if we get together and realize that mentors, students, and teachers play an extremely active role and that they don't overstep their boundaries with become more of a parent, that we as ourselves, as humans, can really better the impoverished state for our students and our kids and our future society in America and around the world. And that's all.
All right. Good job.